Hi everyone, welcome to Gaia Meditation. I'm Stefan, and today we have a special guest. This is a honor and pleasure for me, and a big privilege to have Eric Pearl here with us today. Dr. Eric, welcome. How are you, Eric?
Well, Stefan, thank you. It's an honor to be included in your Gaia meditation channel. We're wonderful today. We're here near Chicago in the heart of the United States.
Whoa. I'm
And
in
you, I
France.
assume, are in Paris?
Yes, Paris
Um,
suburb, Paris area. We are really happy, and I must say you are a true inspiration for me personally, and that's why I wanted to have you for this interview because as a matter of fact, I'm a reconnective healing practitioner and reconnection practitioner. So when I read your book and lots of things happen in my life, and I'm really happy to have you for this interview today. Thank you for accepting.
Thank you, an honor.
For all of you, if you know Eric Pearl, you're going to maybe find out more about him and his work. For those of you who have never heard about Dr. Eric, let me tell you a bit more about him. For 12 years, he was a chiropractor, a successful chiropractor in Los Angeles. And from one day to the other, his life totally changed. His patients started to report any kinds of healings uh, next to him without him even touching them. And of course, something special happened at that time. Something significant was going on. And it's what is called today reconnective healing, and it's recognized and renowned all over the world. Uh, and there had been also scientific studies about it. So perhaps we're going to talk about it also today. Dr. Eric traveled the whole world in more than 100 countries. He appeared at the United Nations, CNN, the New York Times, Dr. Oz, and really, it's a really big pleasure. You are really an amazing human being, and since I've read your book, so your book is an international bestseller. It's called The Reconnection, Heal Others, Heal Yourself, and it's translated in 40 languages. And since I've read that book, lots of things have changed in my life. I wanted to start from there because in your book, you talk about a lot of things, and I want to know how your life changed, what really happened in your life in 1993.
Me too. And those words kind of sum up a lot of things in my life since that day. You know, we can talk about it, and what I realize is that it depends on the perspective from which we speak. So let's start with the way that it looked to me at that time, which was a very linear, sequential, four-dimensional perspective. I went home one night, closed my bedroom door, turned off my light, went to sleep just like I did any night. In the middle of the night, I was awakened by a bright light. It felt as if someone had rudely come into my room and flipped the light switch on. I opened my eyes to see who had done it. No one was there, but the lamp next to my bed was turned on. And my bedroom door that I close every night, was wide open. And it felt very strongly as if someone had entered my home. So rather hesitantly, I got up and I grabbed the largest knife I could get my hands on. And I found an old empty can of pepper spray. I figured it made me look dangerous because no one knew it was empty. And my Doberman Pinscher, who followed me around the house. But she was rather hesitant. She was sort of hiding behind my knees. We looked behind doors and hallways and different floors and closets, couldn't find anyone. And I finally decided, well, it must be my imagination. So I went upstairs and got back into bed. And that little round knob on pretty much every lamp you see everywhere in the world, that clicks on and clicks off. I'm a clicker. I lock doors and I click windows and everything is closed or in place. Well, that knob was rotated enough to turn the lamp on to wake me up, but not clicked into place. So I knew it wasn't me. So I thought to myself, well, if they let me wake up in the morning, they let me wake up. Whoever is in my house, I can't find them and I'm going to sleep. Well, all I can tell you is I went into work that Monday morning. And my employees started looking at me and asking me, said, what happened to you over the weekend? I said, what do you mean? They said, well, you look so different. You sound so different. And I thought, well, all right. Nothing much I was going to talk about at that moment. There were some unusual things that had taken place. And for those of you who've read the book, you know them, but let's not go into long detail here. We'll never finish in one interview. All I know is that I went in to give a chiropractic adjustment to my first patient. And when I finished, I said to him while he was lying there on his back, close your eyes now and relax for a moment, which I always say to all my patients. Let your eyes relax for a minute. And then when he opened his eyes, he asked me who had walked into the room while his eyes were closed. I said, no one. He said, no, like I didn't hear him. The person who walked into the room. I said, no one came in. He said, I heard them. I said, they weren't there. He said, I felt them there. I said, no one was there. So finally he said, okay, but I knew he didn't really quite believe me. I thought, well, he's having an interesting day. I'll go to my next patient. I adjusted her. When I finished and she opened her eyes, she said, who walked into the room while I was lying here? I said, no one. Why? She said, no, I mean the person who walked in. I said, no one came in. She said, I heard them. I said, no one was here. She said, I felt them. I said, no one was here. I'm thinking, God, this is weird. 2 patients in a row. Well, it got weirder. 7 patients that day insisted that someone had walked into the room, stood there, walked around the room, ran around the room, and 2 of them actually looked at me, almost embarrassed to say this, and it felt as if somebody was flying around the ceiling. All right. I'll just take mental note of this day, I thought to myself, but other patients, when they opened their eyes, were telling me that they were seeing colors they'd never seen, smelling flowers they had never smelled. And they started reporting healings, real healings. They were getting up out of wheelchairs. Kids with cerebral palsy and epilepsy were able to walk and run and play. Not everyone. I mean, it's not like this is a cure for diseases. It's not. I'm just telling you, this was an experience that I started observing from that very first day after the door opened and the light turned itself on. As I held my hands near my patients, their fingers would go into involuntary movement, or their feet, or their eyes, or their facial muscles would move. And some of these were patients I'd had for 10 or 12 years. Others were patients on their first day, and it scared both of them in some of the ways, and it excited others. People kept, asking me what I was doing. I said, I'm not doing anything and don't tell anyone. But of course, the more I said that, the more everyone started talking, coming in wanting to experience it. And I, from a chiropractic background, was so used to my patients coming in where it hurts here and it hurts there, and can you fix this pain? And so all I was seeing were the physical healings, the physical changes in my patients. That's all I allowed myself to see at this time. But patients started coming in saying, things are changing in my life. All of a sudden, after my visit with you, the people at my office who were always against me every time I came up with an idea were suddenly backing me solidly on everything. Suddenly, the people who didn't like me became my friends. Suddenly, my kids who didn't want anything to do with my opinions are asking me my opinions on everything. My mother-in-law has become nicer. Everyone was having these funny, dramatic stories, abundance in their life, prosperity, love, health. And people started asking me to teach this. And I said, you've got to be insane. I'm standing here looking like an idiot, waving my hands around in the air. Teach it. There, you just saw it. Now you go outside, wave your hands around in the air. Let me know what your neighbors think about you. but everyone, including me, was focused on were what we considered physical healings. The funny thing is, there's much more to healing than the way I was seeing it. There's much more to healing than the way people were seeing it. It's a different concept than when we think of the word guérison, for example. It's different. It seems to include all those physical healings, but it brings about so much more. It doesn't just bring you back to before an injury. It doesn't just bring you back to where you used to be in a state of health when you were 5 years old or 12 years old or 25 years old. It takes you somewhere else. It appears to take you somewhere else, but it doesn't take us. That's our human linear perspective. What's really happening is that instead of it adding more onto us, it's bringing us to a state or place, I should say. It's not really either. It's not a state, it's not a place, but I'm using a language we can sort of understand. That's easy to translate. It returns us to what Jillian and I refer to as the before beyond. In other words, the reconnective healing frequencies of energy, light, and information. Call it God, call it love, call it the intelligence of the universe. It doesn't care if we call it Helen. It's a resonance. It's a vibration. It's a reminder of who we were before we started hiding, before we started trying to become more because we didn't see that we already were the infinite. The reconnective healing experience it's a finite, a finite experience of the infinite. Truth is, everything is a limited or finite experience of the infinite. You, Stefan, as a human being, me, Eric, everyone, we are finite experiences of the infinite. The infinite exists before us and continues after us, although not really, because it is us. But what we perceive as us, this little human physical tissue thing, this is what's finite. This is what's limited. So we are a finite experience of the infinite. And when we interact with the reconnective healing frequencies, the energy, the light, the information, it vibrates, it resonates with us as the infinite. And when that experience, that particular reconnective healing experience sort of, completes as we're able to perceive it, we, in a way, are like tea bags steeping in the essence, steeping in the essence of the tea. Yeah. See, my prop? Steeping in the essence of the tea, more and more becoming the essence of who we are. So we are out there looking for physical healings, we think. People come in all the time. Can I have a reconnective healing session? I have a headache. I have a shoulder pain. I have an elbow pain. I have this, I have that. The doctor needs me in the hospital for a surgery. Maybe we can fix it first. Reconnective healing doesn't look at what we think the problems are. The headache isn't the problem. It's an indicator that something is out of balance, or more so that we are living in an illusion instead of the recognition of the essence that we are. Whatever it is that we're looking at is a symptom. And we say, well, reconnective healing doesn't address that or the other. People go, oh, well, I need someone who's going to address that. Well, then you're addressing what you're hiding behind. You're looking, or you're not seeing yourself because you're hiding behind. And every time we try to add the new latest healing technique, whether it's from 3 months ago or 300 years ago, we're just hiding behind more things. We're looking for beyond. in the resonance of the energy, light, and information, everything disappears, including all those techniques that are like umbrellas we're hiding behind.
Mm-hmm.
And what's left is our essence, is you, is beingness. That's all that is. So people say, oh, I like that reconnective healing technique. It's not a technique.
No.
Well, what do you mean? Well, there's no technique. Well, how can there be no technique? It's because when we have a technique, we focus in on something. For example, let's say we want to approach a broader understanding of what's going on in the universe. God, love, intelligence of the universe. And our idea is that we want to find it through religion, maybe a religion. So we go and we look out of a window of one perspective, one religion. We see a church. Maybe years later, we meet someone else who says, hey, but I've got a really cool window or religion. So we look out of their window, we see a mosque. We look out of another one, we see a synagogue. Then we see different synagogues and mosques and temples and shrines. But even if we look out of every window that exists, we're never going to see the whole picture, because each window is limited by the window frame. And look at that gorgeous, screen, Stefan, you're sitting in front of. Picture each of those boxes could be windows, but they're still limited by the frame. If you look out the windows in your house, the frame then is limited by the wall that holds the frame. But when we walk outside and there are no more windows, there are no more limitations. We can go up on the roof, have a party, see 360 degrees in all directions. No windows, no techniques, no training wheels. But what if at that party, someone decides they want to add their window? Oh, I got this really cool window. I'm going to bring it to your party, make your party more. So they bring their window up and we all take turns looking out. Do we have more? No, we only get to see what's inside of that window frame. So part of the challenge, really the only challenge, is that experienced by the personality or the ego. The ego resists letting go for fear that it might not exist. I mean, does that make sense? The personality, the ego, is in fear that it might disappear. The truth is, if we disappear everything we've ever had, everything we've ever thought of, if we disappear those things, the only thing that's going to be left is the infinite, which is us, essence, being, everything. We will be left. And in this resonance, there's no limitation. There's no wrong. There's no illness, no sickness, no disease. It's sort of like pulling out a huge bell I talked about in an interview earlier today that's been under the ocean for 300 years. And you bring it up, you crank it up on the ship, and all you see is this big mess of rust and seaweed and dark, nothing. But you ring the bell and it vibrates, and the rust and the seaweed falls off, and seaweed falls off, and all of a sudden underneath is that beautiful, perfect, shining bell that when you tried to ring it before made a thud, but now it just rings beautifully. This is us, but we don't view it this way four-dimensionally. We keep adding. I want a new technique. I want a new crystal. I want a new necklace. I want a new protection. I want a new ritual. I keep hiding under these things. We keep hiding under these things. Reconnective healing is a vibration. It's a resonance. It's our essence. It's our being. It's our eternity. And once we experience it, Stefan, as you probably know, then there's no going back. Hope you like
Yes,
it. There's just no going back.
for sure. Yeah, it's amazing. What you're saying is amazing, because it truly resonates. I think that when we live with the frequencies, we, as you said, we go back to our essence. And when we go back to our essence, we don't want to live in another way, and we cannot live in another way because it's living with us. And there's this kind of expansion of awareness, and we cannot do we cannot ignore it. Like, it's there. And
Right.
yeah, it's amazing.
But it is awareness, and that's it. When you took the training program, did we come over and teach you awareness? No, you can't
No,
teach
no, exactly.
awareness because you are
Yes.
awareness. People say, I want to become enlightened. You
Yes.
can't become enlightened because you are enlightenment.
Yes.
The concept of becoming enlightened, well, I don't know that I'm enlightened. Well, that might be true, but that doesn't mean you're not enlightened. Uh, you can't become something that you already are. To become enlightened, you place enlightenment in the future, which means you're not there yet. Which means if it can be placed in the future and you're not there with it now, that means then there will be a time when it ends too. So you're setting yourself up for disappointment. I'm not enlightened now. I'll be enlightened later for a little bit, but then I won't be enlightened again. Wait a minute. Enlightenment is infinite. Our cognizant awareness of it is part of what we learn. And in that awareness, we experience cognizantly the enlightenment that we've been blindly walking around thinking, I don't have, I don't have. And that's the same thing with healing. We've been walking around with limited this and can't do that and problems with the heart and whatever. And that's not the truth of who we are. So we have been living in a Halloween costume. We've been living in a disguise.
Yes.
We need not do that. So when people said, how can you teach reconnective healing in the beginning? I said, I don't know. I don't know. Because I didn't know with knowledge.
Yes.
My knowingness decided to emerge with that, though. And we found that in the sharing the familiarity of the energy, the light, the frequencies, the resonance, it began to vibrate more to your awareness, Stefan. And you were able to allow yourself to realize that, hey, I'm not here to send a healing. I don't want to send a healing to my brother. If I send a healing to my brother, it means I'm here. My brother's there. There's a distance in between. There's a separation. There's an illusion. There's otherness. And except the fact is we realize that we're all one. There's no field to send a healing through. I don't know if you facilitate distance healings. I know
Yes, I
Jillian and
do.
I
Yes.
facilitate. Great. Also, reconnective healing, distance healing sessions. A lot of our practitioners do. There's no separation. There's no distance. And we're going to play with that later so that people watching this can experience it. And it won't matter that we are recording this show now. And if they're reading the subtitles, then they mean, oh, it was recorded before because they needed the time to subtitle it. So how is this working? Well, guess what? Time, space, distance, all an illusion, doesn't exist. So what happens, for instance, if you're coming to France for the Catalyst program, which we'll talk about later, is that you'll be experiencing immersed. I used to say you're soaking in the frequencies. Really what it is we're soaking in our own cognizant awareness that we are aware. Everyone is aware, but we're not always aware that we're aware. Right now we're talking. So if you're thinking about your next question, if I'm thinking about my next answer, if all of a sudden the dog starts to bark in the next room and you're concerned that Stefan, he's interfering with the sound with your video, you'll start, the truth is you're aware that your heart is beating, but in those moments you will not be aware that your heart is beating. Okay, you're aware that you're breathing, but in those moments you will not be aware of your breathing. So you're aware that you're breathing, but then when you tune in, you become aware again that you're breathing. Or maybe when the dog starts barking, you'll become super aware that your heart is beating. But, you know, our cognizant awareness comes in and out, but we are aware because we are awareness. And my knowledge, facts and data, which by the way change every year. We knew lots of things. Americans, French, human beings around the world knew lots of facts 200 years ago. 150 years ago, some of them were wrong. 100 years ago, some of them right again. 25 years ago, some of them are wrong and some of them are new. Facts change because facts aren't facts. Facts are generally agreed upon consensus of opinions. That's what our knowledge is. How much of this stuff can we remember? But knowingness, that's an essence that knows. So beyond my brain, my cerebral mind that did not have that knowledge that I could teach this, there's a knowingness, the awareness that you and I and each of us are, that said, you know, I'm just going to come in and I'm going to feel, I'm going to receive. And there's an exchange, and other people are changing. Well, but I didn't send anything to them. I was just feeling. I'm just receiving. That's because we're all one. Everyone's touching and no one is touching. Everyone's special and no one is special. There's not one unique special healer who came from a cave in Tibet or a church deep in Brazil. There's not. There's you, there's me, there's everyone, all special, all equally special. And so we receive.
That's beautiful. Do you consider yourself as a healer? I would say probably not. But if people call you a healer, what would you say? Oh, Dr. Eric Pearl is the greatest healer in the world, or I don't know. What would you reply?
Probably a lot of what I just said.
Yes.
Well, we're all healers. And as we allow ourselves to vibrate in the resonance of God, love, universal intelligence, energy, light, and information, we find that what we've been hiding behind sort of disappears like the clouds. If you look up, some of you watching this right now may see a blue sky. Some of you may see a gray sky because of the clouds. And you'll say, oh, it's just a gray sky today. No, the blue sky is always there. The clouds obscure this. Our beliefs of lack and limitation obscure us, like the clouds obscure the blue sky, and we think we are not abundance, life, essence, beingness, and love. When we're not feeling happy, we think that we're not happy by nature. Our very nature is happy. Give away everything. And now give away something else. And then give away the things you think you can't give away. And all that's left is your beingness, your essence, and your happiness. And guess what? In that, you express full health. You find, you know what? That pain in my shoulder, I wasn't happy with it, but I am happiness. So that illusion that I hid behind was an excuse to not allow myself to experience myself and my essence. So people go, oh, you know, I need some reconnective healing right here. Put it right here. I have this headache. What do I say? Why don't you take an aspirin? It's probably quicker and cheaper. Well, it's probably not really quicker, but the point is, it's not the focus on that.
Yes.
The headache is a reminder that you're not happy. That's the imbalance.
Yeah.
It's not just a physical imbalance. They tend to leave too. It's us. We're not in balance with the nature of who we are at times. Our nature is happiness. Our nature is eternity.
Yeah.
So a healer? No, go look in the mirror. You want to see a healer?
Yeah.
Go look in the mirror.
Everybody.
And they'll go, oh yeah, I am a healer. I remember this. And then I brought it, and I made it even better by drawing these, you know, special markings over someone, and even more by bringing this crystal. And I set up the roses so the ghost didn't come in. And then I did imaginary protections to keep myself from being attacked by evil spirits. I said, now what happens if you let go of all of that? Well, I don't know. I said, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? You'll die, and then you'll be all right anyhow.
That's the
And
best
if you
answer.
don't die, then you'll just have let go of another handful of fears. And as we keep letting go of fears, we become more our essence, which is love. It's, you know, I said, why do you do all those fear-based protections when you practice that technique or this or the other? They go, oh, they're not based in fear. I said, think about it. Is there anything in your life you've ever protected yourself from that you weren't afraid of? Of course not. You don't protect yourself from something unless you feel threatened or in fear of it. Now, they say, no, I love it, but I use those protections. Really? You in a relationship with someone that you love? Do you protect yourself from them? Or do you let go of all protection so you can simply experience and be in that love? Do you need to send them your love? Or are you just love in that shared awareness? There's no field, there's no medium to send it through because you are one.
And what you know, we talk a lot about intention, especially in other energy modalities, even in meditation. And in the law of attraction, we talk about intention. And I know, of course, in Reconnective Healing, we don't approach in the same way because it's more about attention. Could you tell us more about this?
Okay. When you're intending something, are you in the present or in the future?
In the future.
Okay. When you're
Simple answer.
intending something, have you let go or are you working towards it?
Yeah, we are working towards it, right?
You're working.
We're not
So
letting go.
intention is work
Yeah.
and it's future.
Yeah.
How about when you just observe something, when your attention is on it? Are you in the future or are you in the present?
In the present.
Are you working or at ease?
Ease.
So if
So
you
we,
look, at least in English, I don't, you can probably make the same kind of a dissection translating in French, but in English, there's the word disease, which separates into a dis-ease, ease being health, dis being a not. Does that translate in French somehow?
yes, we have maladie, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
mal. It's like
Right, I
uh,
know that. Yeah.
yes, mal
Not
adi,
good.
and the mal is saying something, like the
Oh,
something wrong is saying something. So it's the same kind
okay.
of translation.
So right there could be a clue of where do I feel better? Working in the future, at ease, in the present. Um, it's not that intention approaches don't work to bring about a result. But even if the intention works at its fullest, what's the most it will bring about? The result that it intended.
Yes.
What the human mind was able to
Yes,
grasp.
exactly.
What about everything the human mind, the thinking mind, didn't grasp?
Yes.
But when we are in awareness and presence, when we are beingness, when we are healing, then thank goodness, whatever that healing is not limited to just the human mind. It's not limited to the beliefs. It's not limited to just what we fixated on. It doesn't require to make it better that we believe in it. Reconnective healing doesn't care whether we believe in it or not. You know why? Because it is. It just is. It's our essence, just is. Doesn't need us to hope that it works or have faith that it just is. And when we let go of all those, I hope, and I protect, and I do it this way and that way, all of a sudden we just are the are that always is our essence. You know, even in our languaging, we say, I am hungry, and we focus on hungry. I am tired. We focus on tired. I'm enjoying this, and we focus on the this or the enjoying. But the peace, the essence, comes not in the what, it's in the I am. And so when we're stressing a lot, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm late, and those are all the things we're focused on: hungry, tired, late. How about I am? And say I am louder and slower, and then make the other word tired smaller. I am late gets smaller, sort of disappears, and we vibrate in the I am. And people go, what the hell does this have to do with healing? Ah, because healing isn't about fixing a boo-boo. Healing is, and you are. And when we become healing, it's sort of like when we become the healing that we are, it's sort of like being the light that we are. Light doesn't fear darkness. Light doesn't protect itself from darkness. The sky doesn't protect itself from clouds or thunderstorms because it knows that clouds and thunderstorms can't hurt the sky. And light knows that darkness is only where light isn't, an absence of light. So when we fear evil is going to attack us, and metaphorically darkness, all we need to do is remember that we're the light. And where there's any kind of a discomfort or something, it's where we haven't allowed ourselves to shine, to resonate as the light that we are. In the Reconnective Healing training programs, whether it's the online portal, whether it's the live catalyst, you experience this. You see, again, once it's in your knowingness, once you know something, you can't unknow it. You can't.
Yeah, reconnective healing, from what I hear, it cannot not work, right? When you're doing, people are saying, reconnective healing, is it efficient? Does it work, or does it sometimes it doesn't work? Do you have cases when it's not working? What would you say? Of course,
I would say very clearly that
yes.
you think your words are saying, does it work or doesn't it work? Your words might say, oh, gee, it didn't work. I still have this problem. It's not that it didn't work. It's that it didn't do what you,
Yes.
in what you perceived as your infinite wisdom of your highest good, it didn't do what you told it you wanted to do. It's kind of like you saying, you know, God, you didn't give me what I wanted, so you don't exist. Mommy, you don't love me because you don't let me eat chocolate for 3 meals a day. Sometimes there's a higher knowingness. So, is the idea for only our desires, or maybe what's in our highest good? You know, what feels good? Sometimes you hear, you know, you talked about intention, and you hear group healings, and it feels good for a lot of people to be gathering in groups to do a healing on one person. But what are they really saying? I'm not enough. I need help from others.
Mm. Yeah.
What if we stood in our knowingness, metaphorically speaking, and said to our friends, all right, you other people helping me with this healing, you're enough. Go out and facilitate healings for others. I'm here. If there's 6 people facilitating a healing, we're all 1/6 of 100%. We can't be 600%. So we're not giving someone 100% of a healing. We're giving them maybe 100% at most, because 6 of us, we're each 1/6 of 100%. But we're not even giving them 100% together, because we're working holographically. That's how we exist. And therefore, 6 people functioning as what they perceive as 1/6 is a total of 1/6. It's not a total of 100%. So let's empower everyone who's receiving, who wants the healing. Let's stop limiting what they're going to get by what a human, conscious, educated mind can think of. Let's stop limiting what we're allowing ourselves to be by visualizing ourselves as needing someone else. And let's stop limiting what they're allowing us to receive, because we all come in seeing ourselves at a limited level. I believe we're all here to be infinite. The infinite, there are 2 things you can't do with the infinite. You can't add to it because it's already infinite. So if we start perceiving ourselves insecurely enough that more people will create a better healing, less people won't do as good, then we're seeing ourselves as limitation, and the infinite has no limitation. And so when we come up with, I don't know, we could say, thank you, God, for allowing me to sense this feeling of insecurity and giving me the opportunity to choose to walk through it, to facilitate this healing myself, because you would if you were the only one there. Wow, how empowering for you. How empowering for your friends. How empowering for the planet and the universe. How empowering to even let go of the concept of the multiverse. Oh, the multiverse, because there are so many universes, there can't be. It's uni. There are lots of multiverses. There's only one universe. It's one. I don't know if I'm going where your question wants me to go. My mouth is moving and I'm walking along behind it going, oh, wow, that sounds pretty cool.
No, but I think it's really reconnective healing is really this, right? It's wide. It's really difficult to define it is with one word or 2 words. Anyway, you cannot define it with words, right? it's
How
an experience.
can you define the infinite?
Yes, you
You know,
cannot.
There was some radio announcer somewhere in Brazil who took the training programs and thinks that he can teach it. So, it's one thing to learn how to do something. It's another thing to learn how to teach it. Our teachers like
Yes.
Caroline are finely trained and has the philosophy. This person does not. And what clues it in right away is he's going, yes, and I found ways to make it even better. And I'm thinking, then you don't understand the infinite to begin with.
Yeah.
You can't make the infinite better or more.
I think yes, it's what I hear in what you're saying is that it's the most important. Let's say it's also to understand the philosophy, so that we don't reduce our the experience. Let's say because all of what you explained, it's yes, it's really important to understand this so that we can allow what's beyond us to express itself, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And what if I threw out to you one other thought? What if it's to understand that it's not philosophy? Because
Yes,
philosophy is,
that's
is
right.
an opinion, a belief that you act on. It is. It doesn't care whether we believe it or not.
Yes.
It kind of smiles. Ha, ha, ha,
So
look what they, it
you're
was, it
right.
was like some, I remember one time, I'm saying this just because it was a funny story and the guy knew that I was joking with him. But he came up to me afterwards, after the training program, and he goes, this stuff really works. And I said, oh, thank God, I'm going to sleep so much better tonight. It doesn't care whether we believe it or not. It just is.
Do you have a like a memorable story that really touched your heart throughout all of those years? Something, of course, related to reconnective healing in your own life or with your one of your patients. Something really that really struck you, like you said, "Wow, that's reconnective healing," or what happened at that time was really amazing, and that you were in awe. And
The answer is yes, but it's also no. And I'll tell you why. Because every healing is new. Every healing is the most dramatic. Every healing touches your heart that one special way. And so, and you're not the first person to ask me that question or the last who will. Whenever I'm asked that question, it's like a collage of visuals and scenes and beyond that just pass by so rapidly I can't even see them. It's like from it's like from the first the 4-year-old or 5-year-old whose mother came in and said, gee, he was having 16 seizures a day with medication, without medication 50, hasn't had one since, to the woman who hobbles in because she can't, when she walks, she can't pick up her foot. It just kind of hangs and she have to like throw her foot out and land on the ground. To all of a sudden, she's able to go dancing again. To funny stories here and there, but the ones that show up in our memories and our minds like that are only the one tip of the iceberg healings, the physical healings that we see or that we hear
Yes.
about, and then we'll turn into the relationship healings, or it's a funny thing with women sometimes. It helps balance out their menstrual cycles in ways that some want and some don't. So I am thinking of a funny story now. I'll share you this one. So these two sisters come into the training program. They want to learn the work, and one of them was not able to get pregnant, And the other one was, married and had all the kids she wanted. So I guess a year or a couple of years later, they come to the training program again. They were talking to Jillian, so I hope I've got the story right. And they shared it with me too. The one who wanted to get pregnant got pregnant and had a baby. The one who had all the babies she wanted got pregnant and had a baby. One of them was not happy, and one of them was. Well, she didn't want to get pregnant.
Yeah. It's
Everyone did want to get pregnant, but they've
yeah.
all got. So now, does this mean everyone who comes to the training program who's, stopped menstruating, stopped their cycle is going to get pregnant? Of course not. Or, but I mean, there are funny stories, there are dramatic healing stories. There are stories where the child looks up for the first time and speaks words, and hasn't been able to speak his whole life. How can I tell you that I keep one special healing like a Ming vase over my fireplace that I just dust off and bring out and present when I'm asked that question? I can't. I will tell you that you will probably receive, after we do the energy interaction today, stories from your viewers. And you know what? Their story will be that one special story.
Yes, you're right. So how about now we can do a little practice maybe for our viewers to experience?
Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
maybe for a few minutes.
So here's how I suggest. Now, you can do this with your eyes open or closed, but if you're driving a car or operating heavy machinery, keep your eyes open. Okay. Um, and Stefan, you and I can play with this if you want.
Yes.
How's that? First of all, Stefan, do me a favor. Take one hand, open your fingers like that wide in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hold your fingers still. Okay. Don't move your hand. I'm going to move my hand. I'm just receiving. I'm just feeling. I notice your thumb moving. I notice your fingers moving. Do
Yes.
you?
Even
Are you moving your fingers or are your fingers moving themselves?
they are moving themselves.
Uh-huh. Right. I'm not sending anything. I'm feeling, I'm receiving. So how about everyone join Stefan and me for a moment? Just hold your hand up in front of you, any position that's comfortable. Spread your fingers. Okay. Hold them still as you can. Notice as I move my hand, what are you feeling, if anything? And are your fingers held perfectly still? Now let's play with this for about 10 seconds. You hold your hand still, and everyone allow yourself to just notice, feel. Maybe you feel something, maybe you don't feel something, maybe you see something, maybe you don't. You don't have to see or feel anything. Hang on. And what I'm doing, and Stefan, what I'm doing here with you is I'm imagining a suctioning, because I feel like it. I can imagine whatever I want. A suctioning, or I can imagine a rubber band between your palm and mine. I'm pulling it, I'm stretching. I'm not going to hold my hand still. Stefan, you take over. You can move your hand, Stefan. You can feel, you can pull, you can stretch, you can play, you can wiggle your fingers, anything you want. Good. Okay. Good. So, for those of you who think that Stefan is playing with me, pay attention to your own hands. What are you noticing? Is it only in your hands? Look throughout your head and your body. Notice what else you might feel or observe. Okay? So be in a nice, comfortable position. Stefan and I are going to play a little bit. I'm just allowing myself to feel the frequencies now. Stefan, any way you want. For those of you who have already learned Reconnective Healing, if you want to join in, you can. Otherwise, if you want to just experience, you can. Those of you who just want to be a part of it, please do. Take a nice deep breath in and let it out. And remember, you are receivers by design. We, as human beings, are receivers by design. As we allow ourselves and listen deep within to the resonance, the murmur of the energy, the light, the information, understand that in our present moment, we're here to grasp not only the present moment, but the larger, unseen picture of your existence. Like the blue sky, like the blue of the sky, the larger aspects of your existence are always present, sometimes obscured by our self-created clouds, our shoulds, our shouldn'ts, the things we impose on ourselves. What if we could blow those clouds away? Find, feel, play with these sensations as you'd like. You can move both hands if you want. You can hold one hand still. You can wiggle some fingers, maybe on one hand, maybe on another. Explore, experience. The blue sky is your essential nature. Your true essential nature, your empty, spacious presence. The clouds are your conditioning, the finite mind. Receive. Whatever receive means to you, receive. Are you looking at it physically, or you want to imagine receiving through your feet or your head or your hands, the earth, the heavens, or just receive? Do you want your imagination to be that what you're receiving is moving through your chakras, moving through your body, or just a beautiful, perfect reception of love? Take a breath in if you'd like, and let it out. Now imagine a rubber band between your left and right palms, sort of connecting your palms. Pull and stretch that rubber band. Play with it. Notice the further you pull it apart, the stronger you feel it. Notice how the awareness moves throughout your body. Notice how it may not be just your fingers that are moving. It may be other parts of you are moving. Maybe your head, maybe your shoulders. Breathe, feel, receive. Turn that rubber band now into a tube of suction, just suctioning between your palms. Notice the stronger you try to pull your palms apart, the stronger you feel that suctioning. Does it matter? No, these are all visual, mental illusions. However, it helps us recognize connectivity, because what the energy, light, and information of reconnective healing does is it really disappears the illusion of otherness. It disappears the illusions of virtually anything. So receive the frequencies. Allow yourself to feel the frequencies, to experience. Wiggle the fingers of one hand. What do you become aware of in other parts of your body or your other hand? In this space, allow yourself to access your healing. Be in the knowingness and receive your healing. We hope you like it, because in this, you will become forever changed. Your connection fuller. Heightened capacity to receive allows for heightened capacity to receive, because we recognize that they're both really one. In our accountability to humanity, we allow ourselves to be. There is no place to go, because you are everywhere. There is nothing to attain, because you are it. No need to search for enlightenment. You are it. No need to search for happiness. You are happiness. Receive insight into the mystery of who you are, beyond the limitations of perceived time and space. All possibilities of health, wealth, abundance, seemingly mystical experiences for you, in you, as you. There is no formula. There are no steps. Let go of the steps. You simply are. You are no longer that linear being living a linear life. And you're no longer confined by the linear laws. Connect, receive, recognize. Your limitless nature. Release the latency of your human potential. You are energy, light, information. And when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, allow them to open and release. I think all this movement of my hands sort of blurred the camera. Hang on while I do a quick fix. Let's see if that balances us or not. Might just be a lot of this energy, light, and information of reconnective healing. Seemed to have blurred our whole focus, didn't it?
Now it's back. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Wow, that was powerful. I my my heart was beating fast. I felt, of course, tingling sensations. My hands still shaking. My body shaking. I wanted to cry. I felt so much love. I mean, it's like I was overwhelmed. And I hope you guys who are watching this, please let us know what your experience was. Please leave a comment if you want to share with us.
And I'll tell you, Stefan, if you want to share another unique and powerful reconnective healing experience with your audience, don't tell Jillian, but I'm going to suggest that you interview her and allow her to lead you through something. It's like, wow.
Okay, why not? That would be wonderful. Oh my God. I was like, I know that when with reconnective feeling can happen, but this time it was really, I was trying to hold myself from crying. I had almost had tears. And believe me, guys who are watching this, I'm not faking it. It's really, I'm really, true here. Perhaps some of you had the same experience, and perhaps you can share in the comments for other people to know that, it's really, really powerful.
And for those of you who might not be able to make the live immersion that Caroline is giving in France, you'll find that even if you start to work with the online portal, which is both in English and in French, you will start on a wonderful level to access this, to receive, to experience, to follow this, and be able to play with these frequencies, this intelligence yourself, with your friends and your family. And for those of you who really want to move into it beyond that, then will come the catalyst, the live version there. And Stefan, you probably know when that's being taught in France.
Yes.
Or where in France, I don't.
Yes. So for the online course, the level 1, you guys, everybody, you will find the link below in the description below, so you can directly click. you will access the website, the reconnexion.com. So it's, I think, in 8 languages. So you find a course in French, of course, and in English, in German. And
and by the way, the online course is done for people like me who can't take, don't have 8 hours and can't find easily 1 hour on one day and 1 hour another day. So each hour is broken up into segments where there might be 7 minutes on philosophy and 12 minutes on science and 8 minutes of an exercise and maybe another 10-minute exercise here and different things. So you can stop, start whenever you have a few minutes to share. And it's for people like me who are just not necessarily the most organized.
Yeah, it was really well done. I really enjoyed this level 1 course. And for those of you, of course, who want to go further, to explore further, of course, you have to do this online course. But then there is, of course, this weekend, the Catalyst weekend in Rambouillet. It's 1 hour away from Paris. And you will see also a link below in the description, but you'll find the link on the screen. You go to danselavie.org for French people. You will see all the information in French. So it's on the 24th, 25th of April. So don't wait to join. Really, it's a wonderful experience. It's really life-changing. I can say that my life is not the same since I first read your book. Because through the book already, you discover the magnificence of reconnective healing. So, but of course, after, if you want to go further, explore more, you can also become a practitioner. And of course, you can also, so if you have not read the books, there is Dr. Pearl's book, The Reconnection, Heal Others, Heal Yourself. And the other book is Solomon Speaks on reconnecting your life.
And they're also both available in French, I believe.
Yeah. So we're gonna put links as well in the description below, links to French versions of the books. And you and Gillian are preparing a book for this
we
year?
are. We're getting close. We've found as we are really delving into it, viewing through expanded levels of awareness, we find that we're rewriting and rehoning certain parts of it. But we hope to be through with that soon. And then we'll send it out for some initial reads, and then we'll get it published.
Oh, can't wait to have it and to read it. So everybody stay tuned, because I think it's going to be released maybe this year or anyway pretty soon. And yeah, thank you, Eric Pearl, for this interview, for this interaction, for this exchange, for this love that you're spreading all over the world, and that this love that you shared with all of us here today. That's amazing, and I really love reconnective healing. I love love. I am love. You are love. We are love.
Right.
And well, if next time we do an interview, it's like silence, because anyway, reconnective feeling, you cannot really express it with words. So another time,
not easily. No, yeah, you're right. It's beyond words. It's a wordless language of energy, light, and information.
Thank you so much, really. And maybe I give you the last word for our viewers, maybe.
Well, everything that you're looking for exists in the before, beyond. Let's let go of some of the marching forward that we think we're doing. And let's allow ourselves to exist in the part of us that is, always will be, therefore is.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eric.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you. So goodbye, everybody. Don't forget to comment in the video with what you felt in this experience, and to like this video, share this video to your friends, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody.
You. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.